Hello and welcome to another episode of Going Topicless, the podcast with so little planning involved we can't even maintain a decent upload schedule. I'm your host, Evan Pearson, joined as always by my wonderful co host, Cameron, aka Gandhi. How are you today?
It's been, I think, 2 months since our last episode, so eat.
We're back now, it's all that counts. And we're joined today by the one, the only, Joey, the rapper from SoundCloud. How's it going?
we're out here supporting those SoundCloud rappers.
Oh,
R.I.P.
yeah,
Juice. Whatever.
always. Straight into it. Rip Juice World.
R.I.P.
Uh,
Yo,
Today's
He's so sad,
podcast
bro.
is brought to you.
bro, I've heard some crazy rumors though about that shit. Like I
What
heard
even
one.
happened? Because
So
I'm afraid to admit that I don't know much about him.
so I think I think realistically I've only ever heard like one song from him. Uh, and it was like one that was like on the radio for like 8 months.
Probably
Um,
Lucid Dreams or All Girls Are the
yeah,
Same. It's one of
that
the
one,
two. Yeah.
the Dreams one.
Yeah.
But one of the rumors I heard is like he was, and I don't believe there's any factual evidence to back this one up,
Yeah.
but so he seized in the airport. That is correct. He
Yeah.
was in O'Hare International in Chicago,
He was.
uh, and he like had a seizure and he ended up um, dying.
Oof.
Uh, but one of the fucking crazy rumors I heard was like dude was like going through airport security and he had a pocket full of pills and he
Yep.
was like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna take him
Just
to the
take
dome."
them. Yep.
And so he takes all these pills and then he like fucking seized and like OD'd. And again, I don't know if that is true at all, but that is fucking wild. If that was the case, like this dude was just like, okay, first of all, and I just want to point out, this dude was, was a famous rapper, wealthy individual. Like he's not getting stopped by airport security. Doesn't matter what the fuck he has on him, and as long as it's not a bomb, like he's good probably. So for this guy, if this pocket full of pills thing is true, like he's going for it.
Well, there was I think everything at this point, a lot of it is speculation.
Hmm.
But there's a lot going around in, I guess, his community more than just like the broad community, on the internet that's here saying all this stuff. But I guess there's a little rumor going around that he was somewhat like targeted by the police that had stopped him. So it wasn't just like a stop. It was like they were waiting at the airport once he came out, because I think there was someone called in a tip. I'm pretty sure.
For
Um,
what? They're like
I don't
getting
know
drugs
that
on him.
he had stuff, and there
Of
were
course he did. He raps about it.
yeah, but there were drugs and guns uh,
Oh,
on him
okay,
on the
but
plane.
he's flying private. He can have guns on his own plane.
Did you see the amount of marijuana that he flew with? It's like a big fucking bag. Like,
Okay, it's his own plane.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the regulations when you're stopping at like an airport with your own plane, but
So from what I've heard, so
mhm.
is like celebrities and shit, they like have like their own like hangar essentially. Like they go to like their own part of the airport to like go through like security and shit, and then like they're transported to like the actual like terminals because like there's obviously like one way on and one way off the planes. But like as far as like going through security, you're not just like even B-list celebrities. There's
Yeah,
like a premium club, there's like the rich people go and like get all their shit taken care of,
yeah,
away from all the peasants who have to, take their sandals off and go through the fucking radars. But again, I don't really know the ins and outs of what the fuck happened. All I know is that he did seize like at the airport, but I'm assuming because there's no. I mean, we live in an age where everyone just records everything.
Yeah,
We live in a
So
society.
we do if you think
yeah.
about it.
So like I so that's why I don't. It wasn't like it's not like he sees like in the middle of populated O'Hare International. I'm assuming he was at like the private
Yeah,
section of the airport, like the quote unquote premium section of the
right.
airport, because or else a video probably would have surfaced of him seizing on the ground by some bystander who was just
Hmm.
like being fucking nosy and pulled their phone out immediately and was like, "This dude's fucking having a seizure in the airport. This is crazy,"
Right.
like that. So that's why I don't know if like the pills thing, like the pocket full of pills thing, is legit or anything. Like I said, it was all rumor. That's what I heard from the internet. Either way, it's fucking crazy to me,
Yeah.
and yeah, I just
Well, and the shitty thing about that too, like, we won't know. I mean, unless one of his friends say like, yeah, he downed them to hide the pills. Like,
mhm.
he was clearly battling addiction, and
Oh
you
yeah.
can hear it in his music. And I don't know, it's
He had that
it's
one song, right, where oh god, I just heard like a clip of it. He like had that one song where even like he raps like the lyrics or something where he's like, we're not gonna make it past 21 or something.
that was in I believe that was his tribute. That was Legends, which was a tribute to Lil Peep and X, who both died from,
OD,
you know,
right?
Lil Peep OD'd, X was shot, but
Mm-hmm.
they both died very young in their
Hmm.
careers, and that's what that was about. And
Right.
yeah, and he ended up dying at 21.
At 21, yeah. And
So
so I was just like, whoa. And
yeah,
then, of course, all the fucking conspiracy theories have also come out. Like,
yeah,
dude's not dead. Like he faked his death and
right,
he's just living his life
yeah.
underground now. And I'm like, that is just disrespectful. I don't
Even if it
even
comes
if
from
it's
like a
like
good place,
true or
like
yeah,
a
like
fan.
that's just yeah, like it's just
Yeah,
fuck.
exactly.
I don't know. It's shitty. But what's crazy, I've since in like the last week, it was what, like last Wednesday or something like that when he did die, right? It's been like a week now.
I think so. Yeah,
Um and I've seen all these people are all over Twitter and everything like, "Oh, I grew up listening to drug dealers. This generation's listening to drug users and
yeah,
you know, influencing this drug using culture and all this stuff." And it's like, at the end of the day, you're still making choices. I
yeah.
mean,
Everyone's responsible for the things that they do for sure. But I don't know. There was a I watched a it was like a sit down with the rapper J. Cole and then
mhm,
Lil Pump, and
mhm,
they talked to each other about these different things. And J. Cole brought up the point. He was like, "Do you see yourself being an influence to these kids who, because Lil Pump, he does a lot of stuff, or he says a lot of stuff in his music that he doesn't necessarily always do."
you're right.
And he was like, "Do you think that some of these kids will take that as being serious and that being a cool thing?" And Lil Pump was like, "No." But like I think there's like
I don't know.
he was like, "Nah, I don't know." But I think there's some truth to it, but at the same time, yeah, there's always, I mean, you make your own choices. And
Kids
Yeah.
are dumb
Oh,
enough to do anything that their idols do or say they do, even if they don't do it actually.
I think, in my personal opinion, I feel like you know, to an extent. I mean, we become the media in which we consume.
mm-hmm.
And if, especially like an adolescent teenager, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old kid is listening to this music and we're talking about, popping, Xanax and Percocet and all these
Yeah,
pills or, you know, Molly and drinking lean and all this other bullshit. And, pop culture and the music business continues to like influence this drug using behavior.
Mhm.
I feel like these kids are like, oh well, I'm gonna experiment with those drugs without actually thinking of like the consequences of
Yeah.
their actions, because
Well,
they're like, oh, this successful music artist is rapping about how he's, doing all these drugs
and there have
on
been no
the on
repercussions
the
for him.
weekends. Yeah, and oh, he's got songs on the radio. He's,
Yeah. No, for
partying.
sure.
He's making millions, yada yada.
Yeah.
And that's not real life.
Yeah.
That I mean, I used to work with a lot of drug users when I was still. I used to work in social work for the state that I live in, and these drug users, they are not living lavish lives, to
Yeah.
say the least. They are scumbags that are fucking being uh, catered to by the government because they can't control their own lives outside of it.
Yeah.
And they're in and out of jail. They're fucking living on the streets. But I feel like these kids see this culture that has been embodied by these musicians. And not to say that I don't listen to music like that. Of course I do. I love
Yeah.
rap music. But there's what I fear is that, moving forward, especially with just, I mean, I think that pop culture has such an influence in people's lives, even adults, that
Yeah.
consume media like that. I mean, we take things like, our sense of clothing style, or, how we live our everyday lives just by like the media that we consume. And these kids, I think they hang on to it, and they are so influenced by it that they want to mirror that
Experience it.
behavior. hmm It's a downward slope, man. I don't think there's any way that you can really get out of it. I mean, once you're in that game,
Hmm.
I mean, drugs are bad.
Yeah.
drugs, like drugs are bad, kids. let's not let's not do that.
What sucks about it is, in the end, all the rap musics and the movies and TV shows, all that, it's just entertainment. Nobody's making these things with the sole intention of getting kids hooked on fucking Molly and meth and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
No,
there's like
yeah.
it seems really unfair if you were to try and intervene in some sort of way to, I don't know, keep kids from being kids. But like, what else can you do, really?
I think the big thing is, I mean, there's no one to blame but the individual, the individual who's taking that media and interpreting it to the point in which they want to mirror that behavior.
Hmm.
I mean, I hate the argument of where it's like, you hear stories of, like, I just in my local news, um kid was on a bunch of drugs, ended up like stabbing his dad in the head,
Jesus.
um in recent weeks. And like, this was like an affluent, like, well off, family. And um kid just like did a bunch of pills or some shit and fucking stabbed his dad in the head. Thankfully the dad is still alive, but like, that kid, he was, I think it was like some high school kid. I think he was like a senior in high school, getting ready to go off to fucking college, and now he's like facing felony charges for
Hmm.
almost murdering his father because he was on drugs. And it's like, at the end of the day, someone has influenced that kid to the point to where he thought it would be cool to like do these hard drugs.
Yeah.
And I mean, but at the same time, like, you're 17, 18 years old, there are consequences to your actions. I mean,
Hmm.
it's not. I hate when people are like, "Oh, well, where were the parents? The parents should have been teaching their kids better." Well, I'm sure the parents did a fine job at raising that kid, and he wanted to be a grown up, and do these drugs that he thought were fucking cool,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's fucking behind bars waiting for trial. It's like,
And well, from my perspective, um I just turned 18 in November, and I don't do you know drugs. Sometimes I'll smoke pot, but I'm like,
hmm
when it comes to hard drugs and then like other stuff that's like heavily mind altering, like I don't have any desire to try to even to try like mushrooms. Like
hmm
I'm good because even when I'm high, I don't love it. But one of my like when it comes to influences, one of my main influences in music is the artist Mac Miller, and
hmm
he passed away of an overdose in
hmm
2018.
hmm
Um, and he like commonly rapped about his addiction and his
hmm
struggle. His struggle was pretty public for a really long time, and
right.
I can't say that I haven't had times where I've been like, because like growing up when you're in high school, like you go through things that pretty much everyone else goes through, but they really feel like you problems at the time.
hmm
And kids deal with a lot of their depression and anxiety in high school, especially in this generation with social media. Like things,
hmm
you know, even
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they're putting themselves through it, like that's just how kids are now.
hmm
So I can't say that I haven't thought about using drugs to cope with even just my own issues,
Right.
because I'm sure it's crossed my mind. I especially listening to people like Mac Miller, who even he never in my opinion at least, I don't think he ever glorified the use of things like cocaine,
hmm
but he sure did love cocaine, you know.
Right.
So when I hear that, part of me, I think, could be like, well, what if I tried something like that? What do you think I'd feel better? And I'm sure that's influenced kids to do it too.
hmm
It's I mean, that's not the only thing, obviously. Like you said, it could just be like a kid wanting to experiment or
Yeah.
grown like or thinking that it's a grown up thing to do, because I've
hmm
met kids like that too. But
Well, I
that's
think.
just
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's just how I would take it, I think.
hmm Well, I just for I feel like I mean it's been many years since I've been out of high school now, but I remember
Hmm.
back in high school. I mean, I went to school with a lot of kids who did experiment with harder drugs. I mean, when I was in high school, the worst thing I ever did was smoke some pot, just like
Hmm.
majority of high school kids in America. Um, but I had classmates and some pretty close acquaintances that they did do more drugs on the weekends than most. Um, and at the time, it was, I think they used that whole like, oh well, we're experimenting, we're trying things, because we're young and we're in high school, and it was like, that concept of, oh, it's what you do, you experiment with drugs. You try them once and you see what happens or some shit. But then I watched a lot of classmates fall into that pit
Yeah.
of addiction, and as they've gotten older, I've seen some get clean and I've seen some end up in prison, and I haven't seen anyone die yet, any old classmate or anything. Thankfully
Yeah.
nobody's died yet. But it won't surprise me, and if in the near future it does, that the addiction does overcome them, and they do find their fate by it. I think it, I've always seen addiction begin as a choice and end as a disease, if that makes sense. Like, you don't choose to become an addict, but you choose to try it. You choose to experiment with it, and then
Yeah.
that choice later turns into an addiction, and that addiction becomes a disease that is,
Yeah, it takes you over.
right.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
couldn't. I mean, I I just think back to like when I was in school, when I was in high school, and you know we looking back at my class or something, and just thinking like how shitty it was, and now I just think about these kids today. I couldn't even fucking imagine being in high school today. Like
Mhm.
even when I was in school, like social media was around. Um, people had Twitter. I think like Instagram was just kind of like getting some life into it around probably like my sophomore junior year of high school. Instagram was kind of like coming up and all that. Um, I think like Snapchat started when I was like a junior in high school. Um, and now I just look at social media and how it, and I mean, from what I see just as an outsider looking in, is like social media has such an influence on like these teenagers' lives now. And like, I couldn't imagine being a teenager in high school today with all of these platforms that everybody is just striving for likes on. They're all, eh, they're looking for those clicks
Yeah.
and the swipes and all this other bullshit. And if that's how it was when I was in school, like I wouldn't have been able to fucking handle it.
Hmm.
It's no, not a fucking chance. So I'm glad that missed me.
Yeah, I can't say the same.
I mean, so you just turned 18 in November. So
I
are
did, yeah.
you're a senior in high school now,
Yeah.
or uh,
Yeah, it's my last year.
12th year? What I don't know, whatever the fuck you Canadians
12,
call it.
12, yeah. I grade 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, have you noticed? So go back to like, think back to like your grade 9 year.
Okay.
Have you noticed like a shift in um I don't know, like the politics of high school, or like the culture surrounding your high school? And I don't know how big your school is. I was at a mm, pretty average school, I guess, in in America sense. I think my graduating class was a little over 400 kids. I think the school in total had about 2,000 kids in it.
Your
Uh,
graduating
Jesus.
class is the size of our school.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
so
we have a very small school.
right, all right on. Okay, but have you noticed any kind of like differences in uh, like day to day like social life, like from like grade 9 to grade 12, like with social media becoming so overarching and like important in people's lives,
I
like
think,
from the start of high school to, I mean, now you're about to be going into your last semester.
yeah. Well, I've always been someone who is very fond of the internet. Since
Hmm.
probably back in, I think, grade 4 was when I started watching like people like Tobuscus and PewDiePie.
Okay.
And since then, I haven't left the internet. I watch YouTube way too often, like
Yeah.
every single day for hours.
Hmm.
And I'm on I only text people on Snapchat because I'm just so used to it that I don't like just seeing letters on a screen because there's so much more personality in a photo, right?
Right.
I think the one thing that's interesting when it comes to like things like Instagram influencing how people, like how high schoolers live and communicate. I think it's funny how many people will use it to get their problems out with someone anonymously almost. like
Hmm.
uh like it's funny to see so many teenage girls throwing shots at each other in on captions of photos from their spam accounts. You know,
Yeah.
that's
See,
something
that
that,
is some. I have to interrupt you for just two
yeah, no, go
seconds.
go for it.
This um what you just said, the spam account shit, the Finsta shit, like the fake Instagram shit, that was not a thing when I was in high school. That
Uh-huh.
was not a thing. You either you nut up or shut up on your own personal account, or you didn't fucking say it. Now all these,
Mhm.
I swear to Christ, my my fiance's little sister, she's several years younger than us, but like she had she's not in high school anymore, but when she was in high school, she like had one of those like fake Instagram accounts.
Yep.
And like, was very selective on like who followed it, and like it was a very private thing. And it was literally so that she could like go on there with her friends and like talk shit. And I was like, what the fuck? Like if you don't have the fucking cajones to say it out there in the public, then don't fucking say it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That is just fucking wild to me that has like become a normal thing for these fucking teenagers. I feel like such a fucking boomer right now. Uh, but, but it blows my fucking mind that that's like a normal thing now for these kids to have like alternate accounts to
Well, and I
just.
think
Mhm.
I think part of it is y- you need, I don't know, you need an outlet for something, or you if you find an outlet for something, you you latch onto it. Like with me, for me, I get a lot of issues that I have with people out from my music, but
Mhm.
I also have a big group of friends that if we're at school and they see that person and they know that person's done me wrong, they'll all start beaking that person, which isn't that healthy. But we're not gonna bully a kid.
Mhm.
So, but I think for a lot of people who make like Finsta accounts and all this stuff, it's almost like an expression of themselves, or they feel like it is. But it's interesting to see how many people don't realize that that's not unique at all. Like
Yeah.
it's like the least unique way. It's the just putting it in like one term, I guess. It's like the least unique way to express yourself, like currently in uh in my opinion, I guess, just because it's so common.
Mhm.
And it's, yeah, no, I agree with you. It's ridiculous.
That's crazy to me. It's a fucking dude. I could not. I could not go back to high school
Yeah.
to fucking save my soul. No, and not a fucking chance. Not today. Not in fucking 2019.
Hmm.
No. If I had a fucking if I had a gun to my head and they were like, all right, you either get shot here or you have to go be a fucking 15-year-old in grade 9 again and finish out high school
Hmm.
today, I'd be like, nope, bye
Yeah.
bye. Couldn't do it. And high school just fucking sucked. I hated
Can
high school
confirm.
so much.
And I do like how the we live in a society, as was said earlier.
Mhm.
I do appreciate kind of how things have changed when it comes to acceptance,
Mhm.
of different people, or quotations like different, but
Mhm.
Like
like
different cultures, different beliefs,
and yeah, different
different creative
everything.
outlooks, etc., etc.
Yeah, I do appreciate how that's become a lot wider. We live in a small town. It's pretty conservative most of the time. And there are a couple people in the school that are like, the people are like, man, that dude's still an asshole, and he's saying homophobic slurs and he's doing all this stuff, but it's like no one likes that kid because
Mhm.
he's dead serious in what he thinks. You know what I mean? I'm not pointing out a specific person. It's more a group, but it's whatever. Like
Right.
I think I think that it's, even though we have people like that, the general like consensus is like that's not a very good person.
Mhm.
And we're becoming more forward thinking, and I think that's a really healthy thing for kids in high school. But that's part of that is because of social media, and social media is also to our detriment. So I think it goes both ways.
Yeah.
It's not
No,
like
I agree.
how it would have been like 20, 30 years ago when our parents were in high school, when you had all your divided factions and you never ever mingled with one another and you always talk shit about one another. And
Yeah.
like, while high school still does have its separate groups, you got your theater kids, you got your nerds, you got your sports kids. They're all a
I think
lot more like closer together. Like they're all friends with one another. They're still kind of separate, but like
yeah, no,
they
for
agree
sure.
with each other and they hang out with each other more often.
And I think I was going to say, oh, I think a lot of that gets squashed. Maybe not in other places right now, but at least from my experience, it seems like a lot of those the groupings happen because I was in grade 8 and everyone was friends because everyone in grade 7 was friends. So why not in grade 8?
Hmm.
And then 9, 10, 11, these groups start forming really strongly, and I think grade 10 is where it hits the hardest, where everyone's a little more in their sanctioned groups, and then you hit grade 12 and something happens where I think you feel unified as a grade,
Yeah, I get
or
what you're
that's
saying
what's
about
happening
that.
with mine, because you're like, oh, you're the grade 12s and we're all going through the same graduation struggle. So a lot of those lines get blurred. And I'm someone who fits in with a lot of different groups. I think if I wear basketball shorts every day, I'd be a prep, and if I dressed in all black and started smoking cigarettes, I'd be a skid. I walk a weird line, but I think it kind of works for everyone in grade 12. You hit it, and a lot of the lines get blurred. That's
You're
just
like
my
you're kind
opinion,
of
I guess.
unified against the same common goal.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the groups get eliminated because it's like we're all grade 12s. We're all just people again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna argue with that logic. Oh, um, so before you
Yeah.
came in, Joey,
Mhm.
uh, I told Mr. Devon that I had a gripe. I had a rant
Oh boy, here we
that
go.
I wanted to go on,
Okay.
and it's not a rant at anybody but myself.
Okay.
And so here we are, to date the episode, to date the recording. It's currently December 18th. Um, and not only does the year end in 13 days, but the decade ends in 13 days. And with, it being mid-December, all over YouTube is, top 10 games of 2019, top, 5 games, whatever, all these video game stuff. Uh, Devin and I play a lot of video games. I don't
Yeah.
know if you play a lot of video games, Joey.
I
Uh,
uh I like Assassin's Creed and some of the Arkham games, but I haven't played a lot of them in a long time. Continue.
right. Um, but what I wanted to yell at myself about was the
Yeah.
fact that, like, I was listening to a podcast earlier today while I was doing some driving for work, and they were talking about their top 5 games for 2019. And so it got me thinking, well, what are my top 5 games of 2019? But then I thought about it more. I don't think I've played 5 fucking games that have come out this year. I haven't. I have not played 5 different games that have come out in the calendar year of 2019. Not games that I would put like in a top 5 list. Like, I played Anthem back in quarter 1. Didn't like it. Wasn't a fan. Didn't care for it. Um, I played Apex like everybody else and their fucking brother. Apex
Hmm.
Legends. I
Yep.
did of BR games. I would say that my favorite BR game. I'm not a huge battle royale game person, but I played PUBG when it was
Hmm.
still like in early access and at time of like full release or whatever. But I kind of fizzled away from that shit because I'm not good. First of all, I'm fucking ass at PUBG, so I just didn't have fun because I'm
Yeah.
so bad. But I did enjoy it. It was fun to play with friends and whatnot. And I played Fortnite from like season. I didn't get into Fortnite until like season 2,
Hmm.
but I played it until about season 6 or season 7. Not like a lot, but I played it enough to kind of like experience the different seasons. But I definitely liked Apex the most, and I don't play it too much. And I think the last time I played it was like season 1 actually. I think they're on like season 3 according to the podcast I was listening to today. So Apex was good. I liked that. I did like that game. But then I got to thinking, I was like, what other fucking games have I played that have come out in 2019? Borderlands 3. Played the shit out of it at launch, but I haven't touched it since the other game that I played that came out in 2019, and that would be the new Call of Duty. So I've legit only played like fucking 4 games that have been like actual games that are not just, well, Call of Duty is an annual release, so I don't necessarily even want to consider that like a top 5 contender for anything because they release a new one every fucking year.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the only other game that I've probably played that came out in 2019 was fucking Madden 20. So I'm like, and so I'm listening to this podcast, and you know they're talking about all these games. Like, they kept a lot of them talked about Sekiro, which is like that like Japanese like Dark Soul esque game. They talked about like the new Star Wars game, the like Fallen Jedi, which is like another like Dark Soul esque like but in the Star Wars universe. Um, Talked about like the new Fire Emblem game. A lot of them talked about this game called Judgment. I don't even. I've never even heard of that before.
I haven't heard of it.
Control was another one that they like all talked about on there. But I'm like, I've never even heard of some of these games that they were talking about on there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like putting them in like the game of the year conversation. And it just got me thinking about myself and how in the year 2020 I need to stop this. I always find myself falling into this terrible trap, and it's been a thing ever since I really got into PC gaming back in 2014, 2015. Of a new game comes out, and I see that $60 price tag, and I don't pull the trigger and buy it on release. I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna wait for a sale. I'll pick it up, in 6-7 months, and then I'll play it then. But then 6-7 months come around, the buzz for the game is gone.
Mm-hmm.
I have no desire to play it, when it finally goes on sale. So then I find myself not playing these games that are probably really good fucking games, but then I just end up buying fucking Call of Duty come October every year. And I hate myself for it, but I keep doing it. And I keep playing the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But then here I am now, the year's almost over, and I have not played any fucking games that have come out this year. I can't even compile a top 5 games of 2019 because I haven't fucking played 5 fucking games that have come out this year.
Yeah.
I keep playing the same fucking games over and over again. And granted, like a lot of the game, I mean, I play a lot of Rocket League, so it's not like I'm playing like the same story mode over and over again or something. But like, I don't play new games, and I hate myself for it because I keep bitching about old games that I keep going back to, like these multiplayer games or something, and I'm fucking ass at all of them, and I keep getting pissed off at myself because I'm not good, and I then don't have fun playing video games because I'm not playing new fucking games, and it's a problem, and I need to fix it.
I absolutely understand, because I feel the same way about movies in 2019.
I don't think I've watched a movie this year that's like come out in 2019.
I googled some here. I still have not seen Avengers Endgame.
Oh my god, you
I've never seen any of them. So
because I watched Infinity War. Devin knows I saw Infinity War.
Yeah,
we saw each other in the theater.
Same movie theater, yeah.
It's wild. And yeah, and I never saw Endgame just because I never had a chance to go to the theater and watch it with all my friends had seen it, so I was like, okay, there's no point. I'll just wait till it's on Netflix or on YouTube to rent. And I have YouTube on my smart TV to rent now. And have I done it? No, because it's 3 hours long, and I've wanted to watch it. I watched It 2. It Chapter 2 2 nights ago. I listen.
And you're like, there's 2 fucking hours. I'd have been 2/3 of the way done with the movie that I actually cared about. But nope, you watched
Yeah.
a fucking clown kill children.
Well, I see. I actually really liked the first It. I thought it was. I'm not gonna say it was my favorite movie of that year because I'm sure
Mhm.
there was something better when it came out. But I liked it, and the second one, it didn't live up to every expectation I had. But I thought it was an okay movie. You know.
Mhm.
Um. But I do. Part of me does wish that I had watched Infinity War because yeah. But I like aside from that, uh, I was gonna say a lot of the movies that I want to see or wanted to see have been things that have come out at festivals. So all of their trailers air really early. So I get hyped about them really early,
Mhm.
and then they don't come out or they're not released for a while or like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mhm.
more indie projects. Like
Yeah.
there's a movie. It's with Adam Sandler, Uncut Gems. Have you guys seen it's a Safdie Brothers project?
No, I don't think I've heard of
I
that
don't
one.
know. It's Have you seen the movie Good Time with Rob Pattinson?
Nope.
It's an excellent movie. You should definitely watch it. And it's so Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler is directed by the same brothers that directed the Rob Pattinson movie Good Time,
Okay.
and it's one of my favorite movies currently. Like it's fantastic, but I still haven't seen Uncut Gems because it's just not it's not out yet, and I've been hyped about it for months. But I feel like when it finally comes out, if it comes out on streaming or anything, I don't know if I'll watch it.
Right. Well, that's how I've felt the last like 2 weeks. So The Irishman
Hmm.
on Netflix, mob movie with
Right,
De
the
Niro and all
Scorsese.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it came out like 2 weeks ago. Everybody was talking about it.
Yep.
Everyone. Most of my friends that have watched it, all the podcasts I listen to, were talking about it and shit. And I, went to start it probably 3 or 4 times, but I never clicked play
Hmm.
because every time I would go to start it, I'd be like, "Fuck, this is 3.5 hours long." I'm like,
Yeah.
I could just be doing anything else with
Have
the
you
next three and a
seen
half hours.
Have you seen those things about watching them or watching The Irishman in like
Hmm. Yeah, like a
sections?
4-part series.
Hmm.
Yeah, I did. But then I fucking hate starting and stopping a movie.
Yeah, me too.
I hate it so much. It just doesn't. It's not. It doesn't have the same vibe as like a TV show to me. And
Absolutely.
so, my one of my friends, he's just notorious for like he'll like go home for like his lunch break or something, and he'll like start a movie like during his lunch break,
Bro,
enough to finish
no.
it like when he gets home from work.
Ah,
And the fact that he does that irritates the shit out of me
what an asshole.
because I'm like, how in the fuck do you go home and like
Yeah.
you've only got an hour total or whatnot, but like you're really only home for like, maybe like 30 minutes with like commute and everything.
Hmm.
Like, there's no way I could go home, watch like 30 minutes of a movie. By the time you have to leave, the movie's probably getting to like the actual fucking purpose of the movie.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
that's
And I
insane.
know, like from what I saw, like, oh, if you like start the Irishman here and you stop it here, you come back next day and then stop it in that. Like, I'm sure that there's enough resolution in that, like, the 45-minute hour marker for like what they're saying to break it down as.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like, I'm just not gonna do that. I just know myself that I'm not gonna do that. It's
Yeah.
even like some video games. If I know like the video game, like if the campaign of a video game isn't like super long, if it's maybe like anywhere like a Call of Duty campaign, typically anywhere from like 5 to 8 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to sit down in one day and I'm going to play that entire campaign
Yeah.
because that's not like it's not like a game like Skyrim or like an Assassin's Creed game where it's going to take you 50 plus hours to like beat the damn game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm going to try and beat that entire Call of Duty campaign like in one sitting. Like, I haven't played the campaign for the new Call of Duty that just came out back in October because I haven't had a day where I'm like, yes, I can sit here for the next 7 hours and play this game start to finish. And that's what I want to do because I hate starting a story and like not like getting that resolution
Yeah.
as soon as possible. And my my fiance yells at me because I'm not really a huge movie guy. And the reason I'm not a really huge movie guy is they just take too fucking long. They take too long to get to the point.
Every
And
movie?
oh yeah, every movie. Like I probably have not watched a movie that has come out this year. Like a major motion picture that has come out in the year 2019.
Damn.
And I probably did the same in 2018. I as I grow older, I don't have the attention span to like to sit and watch a 2 hour long movie because I just want to get to the point. Like I've got the setup, I know what's happening. Tell me how it ends. That's why I really the last like fucking so I was a big Game of Thrones fan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, started watching it years ago. The last season wasn't how I wanted it to go, but it's over. It doesn't matter. Um, but even that, some of those episodes, were up in like the 90-minute range, and I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, come on, get on with it. We get it. We understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Just fucking get to the goddamn cliffhanger at the end, so that we can move on to next week. And
Sometimes. Sorry, go ahead.
I just want the resolution. That's why I love like 30-minute TV. That's why I think that's honestly why I love YouTube. I
Oh,
love
for
YouTube
sure.
videos because they're quick, 10-minute videos or 15-minute videos, and bing bang boom, we set up, we have a laugh, it's over, we're good to go, we're moving on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's even just social media in general. It's there's a 12-hour cycle, 12-hour news cycle. Nothing's ever trending on Twitter for more than 24 hours
Mm-hmm.
because I think even as society we're just like, we're fucking over it. Like it came, it happened, and we're done.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
almost feel like some TV shows, the pacing's too quick for me to enjoy an entire start, beginning, end in just 30 minutes. I
I love it.
definitely prefer movies to be able to like properly invest time into character development and story arc and all that stuff.
Nah, don't need it.
I
Devin, we
guess
talked about
I
this with
prefer going.
Seabass in
Yeah,
the last
we have,
episode,
but
and
I think I
I
personally
don't
prefer the
I don't need it.
I
slower
don't think I've
pace.
ever seen a show that's been too fast for me. A TV show, at least. I've seen. I'm not gonna say I've never seen a bad movie, that has too fast of pacing.
Mhm.
But aside from single scenes, like if a scene is rushed and you can tell, you'll point it out if you're insane like me. Uh, but I think when it comes to TV shows, I'm of the opinion that CW shows are not very good, but I've kept up with the CW Flash series since 2014, since it started, and again, like I don't think it's a good show, but if I'm bored, I'll watch it because it's something that comes out, so I'm like
Mhm.
cool. And but lately, like I said, I do that with seasons. Like a lot of the time, if a season is too slow, I'm like, holy fuck. But if a movie's too slow, I can kind of try to focus more, and I get through it, and I'm like, oh, that was worth it.
Mhm.
And I don't think I've ever had like a super boring movie experience that I haven't like made fun of, at least.
Right. I think
But it happens with
where
TV.
where I'm like terrible about it with TV is a I I think I'm over weekly release TV. I'm over it. I do love the small like culture shift that we've had in the last couple years, like with Netflix
Mm-hmm.
dropping like a whole season at once, or like Hulu dropping, either a whole season or like I think now they've transitioned over to like 3 episodes a week when they like release a new or like their new episodes for their exclusives. Um, like Game of Thrones was the last show that I watched weekly for the last several years. Um, I I hate having to wait. I'm a very impatient person,
Mm-hmm.
and I acknowledge that. Um, and I think that my biggest problem with like watching TV shows in general, I'm gonna completely contradict everything I just said about how I hate waiting like the next week to watch a TV show. I also hate it when I go to watch a TV show that like everybody's just like, oh, you need to watch it. You haven't watched it. There's 2, 3, maybe 3 seasons out. You know, you can go stream it right now. You can watch it all. Yeah, I'm not gonna fucking do that either because then it's just too much for me to catch up on.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Just like an angry old person not satisfied
I
with
know, dude.
anything.
I know. I'm the fucking word. I am such a boomer this episode. I, I like what one of my buddies for the last couple years, he's just been like, oh, he's all about that Gotham show. I think like it's on Fox or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, it's a really good fucking show. Like, you don't have to know anything about like what is it, Batman? Is it like the Batman
Oh my
universe?
god. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, you're really
Yeah.
not nerdy, eh?
I
Not
just
not like that.
I didn't I didn't grow up with like superheroes.
Yeah.
So like it's just never been an interest of mine. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna dog on someone that like
No, I
enjoy,
get you.
like what you like. I don't give two fucks. But he's like, you don't need to know anything about Batman to enjoy the show. It's like it's the same universe, but like they explain everything like as the show goes on. It's really good. You'll like it. And I'm just like, check it out. Well, then I go to fire it up on Netflix one night, and there's like 4 fucking seasons on there.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this ship sailed. Like, I am not catching up on that. Not a chance. Because I just know, like I okay. I've never watched, like, okay, I never finished Breaking Bad.
Oh.
I've watched, I've
Yeah.
watched some. Probably over the summer. Over the summer, I started it for the first time. I think I got like 6 episodes in. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good show. Um, I liked the characters. I liked the storyline in it. But I only watched like 6 episodes.
Damn.
Never went back to watch anymore.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't enjoy it. Not that I didn't think that I would have really enjoyed like the 3 seasons or whatever that have the show has. But I just, god damn, dude, I just don't. I just can't watch TV shows like that anymore. Like
Mhm.
I really think like the last TV show like that I'll probably ever watch was fucking Game of Thrones, and the last season just really left this hole in my heart
Mhm.
because it's not what I wanted out of the TV show, and I can't sit and watch, and I think my other like the other problem with that is um like going back and watching Breaking Bad. Um, it doesn't interest me to just go and watch the show and not be able to like talk to somebody about it as if it's relevant today.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Like at least with Game of Thrones, with it, still HBO did weekly releases and all that.
Yeah.
Um, and each week, you could talk to people like who also watch the show, and you could speculate about like what was happening on the show, and I enjoyed that, and that's the only thing I enjoy about a weekly show. I'll make that clear. That's the only thing I like is that it gives you time to try and comprehend what the fuck just happened, and you can try and talk it out with other people.
Yeah.
Um, and I lied. Game of Thrones was not the last weekly release show that I watched. Um, it the last show that I watched that was weekly released, and it's over. It was a mini series on HBO. Is Chernobyl, and if neither of
I
you have
heard.
watched that, I will recommend that miniseries that came out. It started, I think, like as Game of Thrones was like wrapping up. Game of Thrones was still on TV, but Chernobyl started with like 2 or 3 episodes left from Game of Thrones, like still airing. And Chernobyl, it was only like 5 episodes, I think. And that game, in my opinion, and I have a very, very small sample pool to pull from. Chernobyl was the best TV of 2019.
God damn.
Do you remember when we had our E3 episode? You were saying there's too many video games to properly enjoy all of them to their full extent.
I still agree with that.
I feel like this. I feel the same way towards TV shows. There's
I
just
can
so
I can agree with that.
many TV shows, and they all have like 8,000 seasons, 100 episodes each. It's
hmm
it's impossible to find the time to enjoy all of them all the way through.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah, you definitely have to pick and choose. I mean,
Well,
go ahead.
well, I was gonna say a lot of them, a lot of shows now, because of, I don't want to say binge culture because that I don't even think that's a phrase, but because people
It's
have
true
been
though.
binging, yeah, because of that, a lot of shows are tailored to that now because of streaming services, like
hmm
Stranger Things. It,
Ah, I did watch that in like a week. The new season. I forgot that came out this year, or
I
the new season
watched,
came out this year.
I watched the whole season. I want to say it was in a day, if that's even possible, but if not, then it was 2 days. But it felt like
It's
one
probably
big
pretty
day.
close. It's probably pretty
Yeah,
possible.
and it was a sick day of school, so
hmm
I just stayed home and watched the whole thing. And I did that with the last two seasons too. I guess season two I struggled with a little bit because I had trouble with some of the characters.
I
But season three, a lot of people are saying it's the worst season. I have my reasons for staying and watching the show. You know, um,
I
I don't
I
know. Yeah.
understand why people would say that about season three, but I think my thing with season three, and what I kind of fear actually, because they've already teased season four.
Mm-hmm.
They Millie Bobby Brown teased it on her Instagram like
Yeah.
2 weeks after like the buzz died from season three. That
Yeah.
like season four was like already being worked on. And what I fear is that Stranger Things is going to become like this generation's Walking Dead,
Yeah.
where um where the season starts, everything's kind of okay for like an episode, and then some bad shit happens. There's a new enemy. The pack is like trying to then take down the enemy, and then there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot
Yeah.
of fighting, and then there's that resolution at the end of the season. Everybody's okay, everybody lives happily ever after,
Yeah.
and it's rinse and repeat. We're just
It feels like
changing
the
some
fucking Power
characters up.
Rangers.
What's that?
I said it feels like the fucking Power Rangers.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's exactly like The Walking Dead was one of those shows where I didn't start watching it um, until I think season two was on TV weekly. My brother, my sister, one of them had, they watched the first season and they were like, "Hey, you got to watch the show. It's really good. It's on Netflix." I think I binged the first season in like a day. It was only, I think the first season was only like 7 or 8 episodes. It was super easy. But then I was like caught up like for season two to be on TV, and that was a show where I watched every episode every week.
Mhm.
I was super excited when the new season would come out until fucking season seven,
Yeah.
because I started season seven when it aired on TV, the first episode of season seven, and I was just like, "Yep, here we go again."
Mhm.
We got. It wasn't even about like. It was just about internal conflict as the show went on. It was just people fighting each other
Mhm.
over and over again. There was a new bad guy that the main group of people had to try and fucking overthrow or kill or take over or whatnot. And it was just rinse and repeat. We're just gonna change where the fuck we're at. One season we're at the farm, the next season we're at the prison, season after that we're in Alexandria, and it's just like fucking Christ, we get it. Like, there's bad people around. You're in a different house now. Like, you're still somehow wiping your ass and eating, but you're not talking about that. You're just talking about how you're loading up all these fucking guns that somehow you have infinite fucking ammunition for. And it was just like, stop. Like, you've been in the fucking zombie apocalypse now for like 10 goddamn years.
Yeah.
None of this shit exists anymore. Like, I don't like they lost me. That
Yeah.
it got so far fetched and obviously unrealistic. It's a fucking zombie show.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where like they got lazy, I think, because in
Mhm.
the early seasons they showed the struggle. They showed like, oh well, we have to try and grow a tomato so that we can fucking eat, you know. And then it got to a point where they didn't even they completely threw away the underlying details of having to actually survive in the world, and they were just completely focused on like taking down this gang of bad guys. And that's when they lost me, when they just threw everything other than, you know, trying to take care of the terrorists, whereas in the terrorists' minds they were the terrorists to the terrorists. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you lost me. So I think, fuck, is that show still on? I feel like it
Walking Dead?
is. Yeah.
I think it just ended, didn't it?
Did it? I don't know.
I I
They had to have
cannot
gotten 10 seasons
confirm
though,
or
because I
deny that.
stopped watching it when I was like, I think my freshman year of college, sophomore year of college maybe,
I
is when I
feel
stopped
like
watching it.
I feel like we're kind of over the whole zombie shtick. Because
Oh,
like
Yeah,
absolutely.
oh
it
yeah,
when
for
it
sure.
when it first when it first kind of arose from the dead, so to speak, it like
So clever.
it was like the whole it was the cool thing. But like after a while, every story was just like you were saying, just rinse and repeat. And like every when I come to think of it, other than like maybe a couple games like Call of Duty Zombies, games where there's like they actually try to make a story out of it, and
Hmm.
movies and TV shows where they try to make a story out of it, every single time it's less focus on the actual threat that the movie was advertising, which is the zombies, and more
Hmm.
of the internal conflict between the people. Oh, this
Hmm.
person's sleeping with this person's wife, and oh, these people don't like each other because I don't know, they beat the other guy in basketball or something stupid, and these people
Yeah.
are fucking homophobic or they're xenophobic or something like that. And in the end, oh, everything goes to shit. They keep killing each other, and the only two people left are the main protagonists, and they fuck off to the next farm or town or village and do it all over again.
Hmm.
It's
It's
That's
like
exactly
it
that.
always seems
You
to
just
derive.
described the entire series of The Walking Dead.
that
Yeah,
actually reminds me of playing Black Ops 2 Zombies. You can like how there's I'm
The
sure it was
transit
mapped
map.
it was mapped after well the transit and stuff like how you go from the barn to like the
Hmm.
fucking
The,
I
the
I
like
don't
town and.
yeah to town
Hmm.
like that's literally what these shows are.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's
absolutely.
they're they're like bone dry. I mean, not all of them. I guess not all the characters. And I mean I'm not biased like against them, but I haven't watched the show, but a lot of that could just be like bone dry character archetypes, you know, in
Hmm.
these situations,
Have you heard of
just moving from place to place.
Telltale Games Walking Dead?
Is that with
I
the
played. I played the first. I played the first 2 seasons, and then they had like a. They had like a.
I think they were halfway through the
They had
third
like
one,
a
and then the
DLC.
company
Yeah,
was disbanded or something like
yeah.
that.
The company went under.
Yeah.
But Telltale is actually just got bought out. And they just teased at the Game Awards over the weekend. They just teased Wolf Among Us 2.
what?
Interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, I
I
brought
never
them up because
played the Wolf
I
Among Us. I
played
think I own it. I don't think I ever played it.
I bring them up because I played the 2 seasons of The Walking Dead, and I didn't play the third one, but I've seen it. And
Hmm.
it's the exact same thing, you've got your character on their own, zombie apocalypse goes down, oh shit, we gotta fight the zombies. Nope, you just find a group of survivors, and you all hang out until you all attack each
Hit
other,
each other.
and then you're on your own again to the next group.
Yeah.
It's never it advertises zombies, but they always just seem to be in the background, and I
Yeah,
feel
Yeah.
like
they're just a nuisance. It's like Dying Light, the game Dying Light.
yeah,
I played. I think I put like 20 plus hours onto that game. When I didn't buy it until it went on sale, obviously. Um, and fucking hell, what is my password to this? Anyways, the sorry, I was doing something. I put like 20. Let's see, Dying Light. How many hours do I have? Oh, JK. Only played 14 hours of it, but I haven't played the game in over a year. I never finished it because I think that's also where these open world games are going. Is that I'm tired of fucking fetch quests. Like, you get into the game and for the first 5 to 10 hours the game's fresh and you're like, this is fun, I'm having a good time. And then you go to like 10 to 15 hours and you're like, holy shit, I've done this 18 times already.
Yeah.
We're just going, we're calling the item that I'm going to go pick up a different name, or we're going to go talk to a different person that's across the fucking map. Like, I need quicker resolution than this. Like, I'm tired of these video games, or these more so the video game companies thinking that we need to get 50, 60, 70 hours out of a fucking $60 game for like story purposes. Like, give me those 20-hour campaigns, give me 30 max. Like, I'm someone who I have a finite number of hours that I actually play video games in my everyday life. I do not want to have to spend like a month playing a single player campaign video game just to get to the end of it, because you want to fill your game with all these like bullshit side quests that I have to do to continue like the main story of a fucking game. Like, I don't need that. I don't need to fucking spend all this time like uh working on building up my character's fucking stats so that I'm actually viable in like towards the end of the game as like as a player. Like, I'm tired of it. I just want to I I think that's what I miss about older video games, the linear play style of older video games, where you complete a mission or you complete a level and it like takes you to a new area, and like that's you get your boosts from that. You don't have to fucking just continue to do things over and over and over and over again to try and get better gear or to get better stats. And it's just like, we don't need that. Like, I want to play the game, I want to have fun, I want to understand the story. And that's my personal opinion, obviously. I'm sure there's some people that love the idea of having to play a fucking game for 200 hours start to finish. Not for me, man. I don't need that much from a $60 game. I love games where the story's great, the story's moderate length, like 20 to 25 hours, and then there's end game content where if you want to continue to play the game and farm for better weapons and all the other bullshit. But if you're just there to pick up the story and like have fun doing it, play with some friends, whatever, 20 hours. Give me 20 hours, we're good. I don't need this shit.
that's what I
I don't
really
need
like.
multiple playthroughs on a game to like get my character to max level and all that other shit. Like, we don't need to do that.
That's what I really like about Rockstar's games.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to have kind of nailed that moderate 20 to 30 hour game with an interesting story that kind of keeps you going. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have an open world to fuck with in the end when you're finished if you want to.
Right. GTA 5
I've
was perfect for that.
yeah, I've
Actually,
finished.
every Grand Theft Auto game ever, because to continue in the main story, you don't have to do the side shit. The side shit's there. You can enjoy that content,
100%,
but
yeah.
you don't have to do that side content to like get better shit in the game, to like level up your character. And I really hope, if Grand Theft Auto 6 ever is released, I mean, if it's ever even teased, I just hope that Rockstar does not fucking take a page out of Ubisoft's book and is like, yep, we're gonna fill it with all these fucking side quests that are gonna be mandatory pretty much for you to like go and get better gear and get better guns and level up your stats and all this bullshit. Grand Theft Auto games have always been perfect on that, and I agree with you 100% on that, Devin.
Hmm. It's nice because like it fits both playstyles, whether you're the kind of person to just blitz through the campaign and then put it down and never touch it again, or if you want to take everything slow, do everything, experience everything, explore everything, and then reach that final conclusion. It's good either way, and it almost warrants multiple playthroughs if you have the time for it. Um,
Oh, I've played through Grand Theft Auto probably 5 times.
yeah, yeah, yeah. As of
I
high.
love that game. Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of my favorite games of all time. I love the story
Um,
mode in that game.
and I'm normally the kind of person to kind of just go through the whole thing and finish it. Like I finished uh, when I first played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I finished that in 3 days. GTA 5, same deal, finished the campaign, and then Red Dead Redemption 2, that came out. That was the first time that I've played a Rockstar game, and I've actually savored every little moment in it because that was one of those games. There's just so much to the environment. There's so many details, so many things to see and do. Now it's just like fuck it, I'm gonna walk everywhere. Not literally, but like I took my time with it and really enjoyed it. And I like that Rockstar makes their games that you can do it both ways. And I mean, I think you can finish the whole campaign in probably a day or two if you really wanted. But I took my
For
time with it
what?
and I finished it in I think 2 weeks.
What game?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, I I've heard mixed things about that game.
Yeah, people
All over the
people
place.
like it, people hate it. It's one of those
Yeah,
things. It's
yeah.
definitely it depends. I think it pushes a lot more for the slow kind of gameplay. That's probably why I
Hmm.
took my time with it, just because I wanted to do that.
Right,
It's not nearly as fast as something like GTA 5's campaign,
right. Yeah, I
but
mean,
I
it
still
really, if you
thoroughly
want to, you
enjoyed
can
it.
you can sit down and beat GTA's main story in one day. You can just blast through it if you really wanted to.
Hmm. There
Well,
are of course there are still games that they get you through the end in just a few hours, 4 or 5 hours. Fuck,
hmm.
Portal One's campaign is only an hour long,
Okay, that game also came out in like fucking 2003.
and it's still a good game, and I will debate everyone on it.
I love Portal One.
But well, what was a recent one that Double Fine Games they made was my friend Pedro. That's a three
Uh,
hour game, and I fucking loved it. Finished it in a day.
yeah,
In fact, I think I finished it in one single stream on Twitch. So yeah.
hmm,
So those short and sweet games, they're still there. They
yeah,
still exist, and
yeah,
they're
for
still
sure.
fantastic.
Well, for sure. Well, before we go and wrap it up, Joey, Mr. Joey, um, let's talk about these bars of yours.
He's left. He
Joey,
died. He's gone.
I was gonna say, is Joey still with us? Joey's gone. Uh-oh, this isn't good for content.
Oh, we've lost him. Oh shit.
Well, I wanted to talk about Joey's up and coming career as another white
Yeah.
rapper in the game.
I
Um,
wanted to get the inside scoop on more high school stuff too, but I think
I believe he has
he's
left us.
disappeared. Oh, he can hear us. He's just not. Oh,
Oh, oh,
Hello?
oh, oh.
hey.
Hey, yeah, I could hear you guys. I don't know what happened with my mic there. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Um, Joey.
Bizarre. Yeah.
So how long have you been dabbling lyrical uh, genius in which you call your SoundCloud your
Uh,
all?
well, I've been working on music for about almost 3 years, I think, around three
Yeah.
years,
Uh-huh.
and it started with me just. Uh, I jokingly I was with my friend who he's now a music, like he makes beats and stuff. He's a producer,
Mm-hmm.
and we were hanging out watching Star Wars, and we jokingly made up an album with names like connected to things in Star Wars. And
Okay.
then I jokingly wrote a verse for it, showed my brother. He was like, "That's not terrible." I was like, "Word." So then I kept writing stuff, and I would show my older brother, and he would be like, "Oh, it's not garbage." And even looking back at it, I'm like, "Oh, it's really not that bad." Some of
Mm-hmm.
it's terrible, but um, so I just kept working at it. I used my cousin's snowball mic that he had been using for streaming. I borrowed that, and then I got my own microphone,
Mm-hmm.
and I built a studio in my basement, and now I moved to a bigger room where I can fit like a piano, and
Right on.
Oh, so you play
I've just
instruments and stuff too?
been doing stuff. Sorry?
Do you play instruments and stuff too?
I play the ukulele, and I'm currently learning piano. I'm self-taught a little bit, but I'm still kind of bad. But I have an MPC which I make beats on. It's like a sampler.
Right on.
Um,
Right on.
yeah, and I love it.
I
That's
think
awesome.
I can't remember what guest we had on, but they said you were working with uh, Liam as well.
Liam's the one that makes beats. He was we yeah we started making music like together basically.
Ah, right on. So do you have plans to like keep going with this? Like take it somewhere after high school or
I
what?
I keep telling people that I'm going to music school because that just sounds so impressive. But I do want to, and I have no other. I'm compelled to do absolutely nothing else aside from music. There is no other option for me, as far as I have found. So I'm going to pursue music, and I hope to go to a music school. I'll probably wait around a year and then go. And yeah, I don't know. I've looked into a few options. I'm still not positive, but aside from that, I want to step up like my social media game a little bit and
Mm,
release like a music video or something because uh that's how people make moves now is through
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
I mean,
You
that's
gotta
that's
through
get
how
those
you
things like
clicks
network
out
is
YouTube.
there.
just on
You
social
gotta get
Exactly.
those
pages.
clicks.
Yeah. So I'm doing that, and uh I'm working on I'm working on a project, and then aside from a project that's like a hip hop R&B thing, whatever my fucking sound is right now. Aside from that, I'm working on a concept album, which is also hip hop and R&B, but it's more R&B, I guess,
Okay.
and an anti-folk or anti-folk punk alternative rock album as well. I my taste varies, like like a lot. I grew up watching movies like Juno and like stuff that my sister liked, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World is my favorite movie of all time.
I concur, and I'll
Yeah,
debate anyone on that till the end of
and
time.
so a lot of my music taste comes from those movies as well. Like I have the soundtrack on vinyl, and like with Juno, I love Kimya Dawson and songs from that soundtrack, and so I wanted to make something that's reminiscent of that. I guess I just to I don't to show myself I could do it, and also just to make something that I'm like, wow, I really love this. Because when it comes to rap, like I love doing it, but it feels like a lot of the time when I'm like rapping, there's an emotional disconnect, and I don't. I want to find something where I can really put everything into it,
Right, right.
or a sound like that. So
Right on.
yeah,
Well, make
I'm
sure
working
you
on some stuff.
send all your links in the Discord chat, and we'll definitely make sure that those get into the description of the video.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Try and get some
our
clicks up for
whole
you,
our
man.
whole one
I
viewer
I
can go
listened to a
check
little
you
bit
out.
of your stuff. I mean, I'm no fucking critic by any means, but I mean, shit, man, just keep working, do your thing. I don't
Thank you.
don't fucking I don't know, be happy. That's what's fucking important. Just
Yeah,
fucking be happy.
absolutely.
So I feel like that's always I'm fucking having a stroke. Jesus
Nice.
Christ.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
I feel like it's always a theme whenever Devin and I get somebody to fucking come and sit down and chat with us for 90 minutes, it always just ends up with, someone telling somebody to just fucking be happy. And if you want to fucking go and do music, then just go and fucking do it. And
Yeah,
don't fucking worry about what other people think about it, because it's none of their fucking business.
I mean,
absolutely.
yeah, I always say, do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. And if making music is something you love, then fucking you can seek a career for it. No matter
Yeah.
what people say, and just fuck the doubters. No one, their opinions are invalid. You can,
True.
if you have a goal,
Yeah. No.
if
For
you have a
sure.
goal to work towards, as long as you never lose focus on that goal, you can fucking accomplish anything. So yeah, right on. Glad to hear you're in the rap gang. Wish you the
Yeah,
best
so
of luck,
send
my dude.
send all those. You got like Twitter. Shout out to Twitter.
Oh God, I don't have Twitter. I had well, I had Twitter. I had to delete it because every time I went on, I just saw Devin rambling. Because he was like the only person I followed. I'd go on and be like, oh Jesus.
Well, get all
um,
those socials in the
yeah,
Discord chat, and they'll get those in the fucking description of the video. And
absolutely. Okay,
and
cool.
I think that's probably a solid spot to wrap her on up. So thanks for
Yeah,
joining us today and
Cool. Thank you guys for
sure.
having me. Yeah,
chatting. Good luck with the music biz, and best of luck
thanks.
to you. Wish you nothing but success.
Right
Nice.
on.
You guys too with your podcast. It's actually it's fun. So
It's nice to just,
We just need to get
sit
more
and chill with
consistent.
some friends and just
I feel
shoot the
that.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Well.
know, October 13th was our last episode.
Uh,
2020 is the fucking year, boys. Woo!
wow.
Well, since we're on it, what are you looking forward to most in the year 2020 before we wrap it up here?
Me.
Yeah, you go first, Joey.
Okay. Man. What am I looking for? Graduation scares me, so I won't say that. But
It's fair.
well, cause I'm gonna have to like find a real job that's consistent. I don't want to end up like the fucking narrator in Fight Club or like Neo in the Matrix. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to live in like a world that's green and I wear a suit. So it's like, uh, I'll say I'm excited to meet new people who will open me up to different things, and I'm excited for people to hear a side of me in my music that they haven't necessarily heard yet. And I'm excited to start a podcast and overtake you guys.
Oh shit,
Shit.
competition.
I'm
Wouldn't be
kidding. I don't
hard.
know. I don't
Competition's
think I'm
here.
gonna do it. I don't know.
Wouldn't be hard.
I joke a lot about it. It's just it's funny to do and it's fun. But
I just
I love how I
subscribed
was
to our
the only
podcast
one,
today.
the only one from our class to double down on the actual podcast idea.
no, yeah,
Devin,
I'm excited for 2020 though.
Devin,
Right on.
what are you hoping to get out of 2020?
Uh, just new experiences. You should never stop living life. Never stop pushing the
He's talking about
boundaries.
anal.
I'm
Fuck. Never stop pushing.
all right. You know what?
The sphincter is the hardest boundary to break.
Oh my god.
Oh no. I regret being here. This whole podcast was a mistake.
Oh, fuck.
But seriously though, I'm excited to hopefully get back into school, do some more acting and stuff. So I'm excited to see what new experiences that will bring.
For acting, Devin. You
More
getting back,
acting.
back into the acting. I see you.
Yeah, yeah. Gonna be a
That's
Hollywood
exciting.
star before you know it.
Hell yeah.
Cameron, your turn.
Yeah. What about you?
Um, well, I'm selling my soul in 2020.
Nice.
I'll be officially getting married in October next year.
Wow.
So that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to sex forever.
That would imply that I have some now. Shit, dude, I was really hoping I had 13 days to think about this. I don't know, man. I think I need to work on me in 2020. If that makes sense. I need to focus more on myself, and I need to get my psyche right in 2020. And I need to leave I need to leave a lot of shit in 2019 and move forward so I can be a better person.
Right on.
That's what I need
Damn.
to do in 2020.
Yeah, I feel that.
Solid work, my dude. Good. I hope you
Yeah.
the best of luck on that.
Well, you'll be getting well, at this point you'll be getting bi-monthly updates.
If we can actually maintain our fucking upload schedule.
Oh shit, dude! You just need to. This is the problem. You know what the problem is that we're always like, you give me a range of times. You need, like, today. You told me, okay, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, we're gonna get at it. I was like, all right, 5 o'clock, we're gonna get at it. Don't tell me, so like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday between like 7 and 11. Don't do that shit. I need structure. I'm a terrible human being, okay? I have no structure in life, okay?
All right, duly noted. So I guess for future episodes, I'll just pick a time and you'll have to deal with it. Sounds
And
good.
I will fucking be there. Unless I can't be there. Alright, Joey. Well, thanks for fucking coming by today, man. I had
Yeah.
fun. So,
Thank you guys for having me. Me too. Yeah.
oh yeah, dude. Fucking
Hell yeah.
enjoy your Assassin's Creed and watching Juno tonight.
Yeah, I will. That actually sounds so fire. I might have to go.
Joey's about to fucking smoke a bowl and watch some fucking teenager get knocked up.
Dog.
That does not sound good out of context,
Not
or
on
even
film.
in context.
I'm gonna go
Oh,
smoke
yeah.
a bowl and then watch
And
it.
watch a movie about a teenager getting knocked
Yeah.
up.
And on that bombshell, this has been Going Topicless, another episode, been and gone. Thank you, Joey. Thank you,
Yeah,
Cameron.
thank you.
We'll
Bye.
see you next time, either 2 weeks from now or 2 months from now.
Probably 2 years.
Have a good night, everyone.